Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dhanan Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
How are you, Maharaj?
Yeah, doing all right.
Good to have your darshan, Maharaj. Again.
And yourself, everything fine?
Yes, Maharaj. So you're back to Mayapur?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we can start. Hare Krishna and Pranam dear devotees. So welcome to our Wednesday evening sessions by His Holiness Bhakti Arjava Priti Maharaj. So we welcome Maharaj by loudly chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna.
Very well.
So in our last class, Maharaj, we did introduction to Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah. So then we move now on to the first chapter.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll just continue now from the study guide that we have.
Okay, Maharaj.
And well, if there is some question, then no, should ask.
Okay, Maharaj.
Then we can stop for that. So then chapter 1, the observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So as the opposing armies stand poised for battle, Arjuna, the mighty warrior, sees his intimate relatives, teachers, and friends in both armies ready to fight and sacrifice their lives. Overcome by grief and pity, Arjuna fails in strength, his mind becomes bewildered, and he gives up his determination to fight. So the first chapter is called Vishada Yoga, which means yoga of despair. When a pious person is in adverse situation, he turns his attention to God. Thus, the calamities in life, which act as an impetus for spiritual progress, are appropriately called yoga. So that's the meaning of yoga, actually connection. So anything can be actually connected. So we know karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga. Those are activities which naturally kind of like are more connectable. But here, as Srila Prabhupada actually calls Vishada yoga, the despair. So any situation in life can be connected. So person in despair, again, what will you do if you start facing some calamities in life? You can panic, you can get upset, you can try to solve your problems by any material needs, but it will create eventually other problems. There's no solution, material solution to a problem. So in fact, then person in despair, devotee in despair, then he will turn to Krishna. So he will actually becomes stronger in his devotion. And the example, as Srila Prabhupada during the Second World War, he was in Allahabad, and there was the Gaudiya Math, and he himself said that was actually very, very good time for preaching, because people are in situation which was a calamity. There was a fighting, and now people were dying, so they were naturally turning to God. Pious people. So that's that was very, very, you can say even like encouraging. Just you see that the people who are conscious of God will turn to God. Those are the suras. And asuras, then they will always depend on their own strength, on their own intelligence, on their own mind, thinking that they are always more powerful. They don't need any God. and they will go to the last breath. Like there was the story Srila Prabhupada was saying that was the old lady on her deathbed. No, she was dying, and no, there was a son, and he was trying to convince her, please chant Hare Krishna. Chant Hare Krishna. He would try to convince her, but she nothing. And she is dying. And then, just, with the last breath, kind of like she was almost dead. But then when the son is trying to convince her, please just chant Hare Krishna, you're almost dying, so then at least say. So she would just, with the full voice, we said, এরকম কথা আমার বাড়িতে বলবে না. So she said, just don't speak this nonsense in my house. So she would not say the Hare Krishna. She would say so many other things, but she did not want to. So those are the asuras. They just will not say anything. They will not. And from Bhagavatam, we have so many examples. It depends, no difference between the asuras and the suras. So Arjuna is in despair. He just doesn't know really. He's bewildered. He's depressed, not seeing the relatives. But now he is eventually going to ask Krishna. So what to do? So then the outline, then verses 1 to 11, then the doubts of Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana's attempt to consolidate his army. Verses 12 to 20, the signs of victory for the Pandavas. Verses 21 to 26, Arjuna confronted with his attachments. Verses 27 to 46, then Arjuna's reasons not to fight. And in that, then in the verse 27 to 29, there's a compassion. 30 to 35 is a desire for enjoyment. Verses 36 and 44, 45, then is a fear of sinful reactions. And 37 to 43, the destruction of family tradition. So that's the chapter 1 outline. So then now we will just go into the verses, the groups. So the verses 1 to 11, the doubts of Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana's attempt to consolidate his army. So in the verse 1, Bhagavad Gita, as most very scriptures, opens with a question. This signifies that the transcendental knowledge is transmitted through the process of inquiry. The question Dhritarashtra asked is bizarre, as Srila Prabhupada explains. Now the word is used, Yudsavaha. They assembled for fighting. Then, what is the use of asking Kim Akurvata? Then, what did they do? It is natural to conclude that when they assemble for fighting, there must be fighting. But why he is asking Kim Akurvata? The suspect was that because the parties assembled in the Dharma Kshetra, so they may have changed their ideas. Lecture, Bhagavad Gita, 2-1, Ahmedabad, December 6, 1972. So, Dhritarashtra hopes that the pious influence of the holy place of pilgrimage will not discourage his demoniac sons to fight, and will not give additional strength to the righteous Pandavas. On the other hand, Dhritarashtra wishes that the Pandavas decline to fight with their relatives because of compassion and detachment. So Dhritarashtra, he is having hopes that he knows that Duryodhana, it's his claims are unrighteous. It's adharma. But due to his attachment to his son, Dhritarashtra, he is going to support him till the end. So we see actually the danger of attachment. He will not be able to be persuaded by anyone. It's a problem. And that's something for us to take an example from, and we should learn from it. How attachments can control us so easily. People under attachment, they are unaware of what they are doing. There's no control. And we may be so much able to talk about others when they are being attached and they are acting foolishly. But once we get into the situation, we will not be able to perceive it properly because of the attachment. So this is a very nice example of how we should be able to stay out of attachments as much as possible. This is what Arjuna, Krishna, they are teaching us. So, before the war started, Dhritarashtra sent Sanjaya to the Pandavas with similar message. Sanjaya pleaded that since the Pandavas are saintly persons, they should refrain from the battle and live by begging. What will they gain by slaying their relatives? It is better to give up the kingdom than to kill Bhishma and Drona. Thus, Sanjaya introduced the same arguments which later on Arjuna developed in his first chapter of Gita. Lord Shri Krishna, who was also present in the assembly, rejected the proposal. Sometimes, unscrupulous men try to deceive saintly persons in similar manner. They persuade holy men that it is not worthy to fight for transitory material things, and that it is much better to pursue solitary bhajan. Lord Krishna does not approve his devotees being fooled in such a way. Srila Prabhupada reveals the esoteric meaning of the word dharmakshetra. As in the paddy field, the unnecessary plants are taken out, so it is expected from the very beginning of these topics that in the religious field of Kurukshetra, where the father of religion, Shri Krishna, was present, the unwanted plants like Dhritarashtra's son, Duryodhana, and others would be wiped out by the thoroughly religious persons. Headed by Yudhishthir, would be established by the Lord. Bhagavad Gita 1.1 purport. So we see that sometimes the materialists, they think that to fool the pious people, devotees. But we see devotees, they can be very merciful. They should be. But they are not fools. Like example, you can see Prahlad Maharaj. He's just the best example. He did not do much for his own protection, but he was fully devoted to the Lord. Because he was on the highest platform of devotion, then the Lord, he actually felt obliged to protect him, and he protected him under any circumstance. So that's the ideal. But until the devotee gets there, then saying, oh, the Lord will take care, now I can go and enjoy myself, and he will protect my enjoyment. That's not true. We have our free will. So Prahlad Maharaj, he was fully dedicated, and now he was not thinking about anything external. He was always thinking about the Lord. And sure, the Lord protected him. But as we said, until then we have to also take care of our relationships. We have to take care of this body. We have to do so many things, but we have to do it in the mood of yoga. How do we connect our activities with the Lord? So then we have Sakama Karma Yoga and Nishkama Karma Yoga. So those are the activities which the devotee, he's always trying. He's always trying to improve his consciousness. And then sometimes he's more successful, sometimes maybe he's less successful, sometimes the modes of nature catch up with the devotee and he has difficulties. But as long as he is not giving up on the desire that he wants to be devotee, he wants to be purified, then he will succeed sooner or later. No problem. So we should also follow in these examples. But you can see, sometimes then like in the case of King Vena, so the sadhus, they would tolerate King Vena for a very long time. He was doing nonsense, but still in doing the nonsense, at least he was pious in the sense that he would be protecting the sadhus. But at some point, he started thinking, why should I do that? I am God. I am the supreme. I can do whatever I want. Why should I take care of those dirty people there? No, what do? They don't do anything. They don't bring anything. They don't give me anything. So I don't care. I will not protect them anymore. So then they come very humbly, approach the king and say, look, you have to protect the sadhus, because the sadhus, they are doing sacrifice for the Lord, and without the sacrifice, nothing can happen, nothing can function, nothing exists. Even you will not be able to exist. So he's arrogant and he's, I'm God, I can do whatever I want. So when they see that he just lost his mind and he is unable to understand anything, so they kill him. That's dharma. And later on, then King Priti was churned from Vena's body. So there is one should be not playing some games with the sadhus, with the devotees. You may not get immediate karma, sometimes you do, but you will get it eventually. And that's why we should be very, very afraid of aparats, Vaishnava aparat, Nama aparat. It's so important to avoid them. That's why we speak every day. We repeat them every day for this very reason. The word mama kaha shows that Dhritarashtra is partial to his sons and envious to the Pandavas. This word is very important because it reveals the very reason for the war, the concept of mine and yours, friends and enemies. This wrong idea creates hatred and envy, which leads to conflicts. So dualities, that's what we are thinking. Oh, you are my friend, you are my enemy. I like you, I don't like you. So this is the cause of our problems. We choose to discriminate what is right, what is wrong. Not based on dharma, based on the mind. I don't like you, and therefore you are my enemy. And then we act, purely acting on the bodily platform. And then we are unable to understand the reality that we are not this material body, we are jiva. So is the other person. Okay, so moving on, verses 2 to 6. After examining the Pandavas' army, King Duryodhana becomes afraid. Because of this, he personally approached Drona instead of summoning him as befits a king. But Duryodhana attempted to hide his fear, pretending that he comes only out of respect for his guru. According to Srila Vidyabhushan, this clever use of diplomacy is indicated by the word Raja, Vachanam Abravit. He spoke some words. Means the Duryodhana carefully used words in a way fitting his interests. Duryodhana was afraid because he knew that although his army is bigger, Pandavas' warriors are superior in quality. The great heroes of the Kauravas, Bhishma and Drona, had great attachment for the Pandavas and sided with Duryodhana because of political considerations only. Thus, they were not wholeheartedly dedicated to the cause. Similar was the situation with many other prominent soldiers from Kaurava's side. On the other hand, the generals from the Pandavas' army were united and completely committed. You see the example now how it's happening, right? No, Russia and Ukraine. I mean, whatever the war is, that whoever thinks it's righteous this way, that way, that's unimportant. But in Russia, no, they thought that in 2 days they will just be in Kiev, the capital of Ukraine. But you can see just how the Ukrainians didn't want to give up, and they got immediately together, and even much smaller country, much less people, but are able to face the Russian army. And they also get the sentiment and the support of other countries. So there is always, and we should not always assume that the bigger, the stronger wins. We should understand that it's the consciousness. So if it's like a unified consciousness that you want to achieve something that's much stronger, then you have like a bigger numbers of people who are not united. And that's in a war, or that's any other project, whatever is being done. So a leader in project, the main thing what he should do, he should be able to unite all the people who are under him to achieve the goal of the project. If he is not able to do that, then he will not succeed. With his carefully selected words, Duryodhana wanted to provoke Drona. By the usage of the word Panduputranam, he pointed out that the Pandavas are Drona's disciples and yet they are ready to fight and kill him. Duryodhana hoped that this will invoke the anger of Drona and he will fight with full strength. The Pandavas' army is called great, although it is much smaller than the Kauravas. Duryodhana uses this word because he does not want Drona to be lenient in the battle. This shows also that envious persons like Duryodhana cannot tolerate even the smallest progress of his enemy. So, yeah, that's here the problem is actually very nicely laid out. That in quantity, the Kauravas are more, but in quality, they cannot match. And everybody knows that. Duryodhana knows that. And he's trying by politics to achieve somehow to unite his army. But he's not able to because Krishna is not on his side. And all these great warriors, they are devotees. So Drishtadyumna is called Draupada Putrena, which is a father brought from Drona, since Drona and Drupad were enemies. In his purport to verse 3, Srila Prabhupada writes, Dronacharya had some political quarrel with King Drupad, the father of Draupadi, who was Arjuna's wife. As a result of this quarrel, Drupad performed a great sacrifice by which he received the benediction of having a son who would be able to kill Dronacharya. Dronacharya knew this perfectly well, and yet as a liberal Brahmana, he did not hesitate to impart all his military secrets when the sons of Drupad, Drishtadyumna, was entrusted to him for military education. Now, these are the qualities of the great people. So you see, actually, the Brahmanas do that. They will be able to teach anyone. Like we see Shukracharya, he is teaching Kacha, the son of Brihaspati, his enemy. But he comes humbly comes, ask for, to be taught. Brahmana will not reject. There is no enmity. So, and here we see also that he knows, Dronacharya knows, Drishtadyumna is going to kill him. And then he asked him to teach him. So he's going to teach him. Why? Because he's qualified. He's not thinking about, it's about me, he's going to kill me eventually. He's not concerned about it. He's concerned about the quality. Is he qualified to receive the knowledge? If yes, then he's going to receive it. If he approaches the teacher with pranipata pariprashna sevaya, then the teacher will not reject him. Only now things are that the education is a business. So now it's, you have no money, you will not get education. You have to pay for the college, you have to pay for the diploma. So many things. It's just a business. And it's wrong. So Duryodhana indirectly reprimanded his guru by using the words of Tava Shishyena Dhimata, your intelligent disciple. Duryodhana suggests that Drona was deceived by Drishtadyumna, who will now use all he had learned against his own teacher. That's the teaching. That's the thinking of Duryodhana. He thinks like that because he doesn't have the quality to understand. But Dronacharya, he's not thinking like that. He taught qualified person. Now, how is he going to use it? That will be up to him, because it will be his responsibility. The teacher's responsibility to see that the student is qualified. He's qualified, and then the student, he's going to use the knowledge based on his desires, how he understands it, but he takes responsibility of how he's going to use it. So, and we see now it goes to the extent that Drona knew that Drishtadyumna is going to kill him, but because he comes and asks with the pranipata pariprashna sevaya, well, then he teaches him. These are the quality of proper teacher. According to Srila Balavidya Bhushan, Duryodhana said, the army has been arranged by the son of Drupad. Drupad, in order to kill you, had his son Drishtadyumna from the fire sacrifice. And then you, though knowing he was an enemy, taught that son the art of fighting. That was your foolishness. And he, the enemy, is very intelligent, having learned from you how to kill you. What you have done has produced a problem for us now. So he's blaming him. Duryodhana, he is very mental now. He is not thinking clearly because he's afraid. He knows that things are against him, but there is no way out. So he's now trying to put the blame on others. I mean, it happened many times, right? No, people don't like to be blamed that they did something foolish. It's always better to blame somebody else for it. No, it's not my fault, it's your fault. Because you taught him, now he's going to fight, and because of that we lose, and that's your fault. And it's easier to deal with that because it's not my fault, it's your fault. But unfortunately, things don't work like that. This is not how you solve a problem. Thus, Duryodhana's opinion is that one should perform his duty only as long as this is favorable for his opulence and sense enjoyment. To go against one's selfish interest in the name of Dharma is foolishness. Duryodhana compares the Pandava soldiers to Bhima and Arjuna because he fears them most. Bhima is especially dangerous as he is by nature more ferocious than Arjuna, and because he has taken dreadful vows to kill all 100 sons of Dhritarashtra, to drink blood from Dushasana's heart, to wash Draupadi's hair with the same blood, and to break Duryodhana's thigh. So Duryodhana, he sees that as a reality. He is hoping for a miracle, but he knows it's not going to happen, and especially not at Kurukshetra, which is not favorable for them, it's favorable to Pandavas. It's Dharma Kshetra. But he's still hoping that somebody can save him. But it's unfortunately, didn't happen. So now, moving to verses 7 to 8. Thinking that Drona might perceive his fear from the Pandavas' army, Duryodhana boasted the power of his own soldiers. But since one should never underestimate the strength of an enemy, he mentioned only 7 Kaurava heroes. He counted 17 great soldiers from the Pandava side. In this way, Duryodhana wanted to incite Drona to take the battle seriously, but not to discourage him by excessively praising his enemies. So again, just politics, how to do it. But yeah. While glorifying his warriors, Duryodhana faced a difficult dilemma. It was very important who among them will be mentioned first. Being an expert diplomat, he selected Drona since he was a Brahmana. Bhishma, being a Kshatriya, would not feel offended by this. To further encourage Drona, Duryodhana next named Drona's father-in-law Kripa and Drona's son Ashwatthama. The next was Vikarna, who was not a great warrior like Drona, Bhishma, and Karna. But as he was the only one who objected when the gambling match Draupadi was insulted, Duryodhana was worried that he may join the Pandavas. By listing his name among the best of the Kshatriyas, Duryodhana wanted to flatter Vikarna and thus secure his loyalty. In this way, by mentioning the names of 7 prominent heroes, Duryodhana tried to please Drona and to reinforce the fighting spirit of his key warriors. I mean, yeah, this diplomacy and politics you encounter every day. Somewhere in your work, you hear praise, you hear some criticism. It's always there because people think like that. But as devotees, we should not. We should be avoiding that. Okay, verse 9. In his purport to this verse, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur reveals that Duryodhana actually confirms what Lord Krishna says later in Bhagavad Gita. Therefore get up, prepare to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement. And you, O Sabyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight. Bhagavad Gita 11:33. So the word Tyakta Jivitaha is used in the sense that the soldiers are ready to sacrifice their lives for Duryodhana's sake. However, the literal meaning is those who have given up their lives. Thus, Duryodhana admitted that he wanted to achieve his selfish goals even at the cost of his life as of his own men. In a purport to Srimad Bhagavatam 1.16.34, Srila Prabhupada states, the Asuras want to enjoy a life of sense gratification even at the cost of others' happiness. In order to fulfill this ambition, the Asuras, especially atheistic kings or state executive heads, try to equip themselves with all kinds of deadly weapons to bring about a war in a peaceful society. And again, example you can see from the Russia that how Putin did the draft, right? Not enough soldiers, so then draft them. But he knew that most of these boys who are going to go, then they will die. But that's not a problem for him. He has many. So he's thinking he has his own agenda, and he wants to convince everybody that to fulfill the agenda, then anything can be done. So he acts like God. And through the media, then he can just he can cheat. He can just misinform anyone. And people believe. Both Duryodhana and Arjuna observed the armies before the battle. Their reactions were opposite. Duryodhana was happy to see that many noble Kshatriyas were ready to die for his cause. As a pious man, Arjuna felt compassion for both enemies and friends. He was horrified that so many soldiers were to be slaughtered for the Pandavas' sake. Arjuna fought only after Krishna personally guaranteed that this is the best thing for him to do. Duryodhana, on the other hand, was resolved to fight even though Bhishma, Drona, and Vidura repeatedly attempted to persuade him out of his plans. Okay, so I think we can end here. Are there some questions?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dhanvat Pranams.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, my question might be a little kiddish, but just wanted to ask, like, since Duryodhan, he's scared also, like, as you can see, and he knows from inside the heart that he will not win the war, and also he knows the opposition party, Krishna is with them, so he will never win. So at the time when Krishna gave him the option that you choose me or my Narayani army, so he chose the army. So I'm not able to understand how he's suddenly now scared also. He knows that he's wrong, and then he's making wrong decisions also, and he knows that he's making wrong decisions. So how can I understand, like?
So, well, I understand his mood. Why is he doing it?
Yes, yes, Maharaj.
He is doing it for one single reason, really. Bad association. There were so many instances when Duryodhana was ready to get out of the fight, or even of the thinking of fighting, much before. Like, for instance, when Krishna shows Duryodhana the Viradrupa, when actually Duryodhana tries to kill him, but Krishna, he comes unharmed and he shows him that he's Viradrupa, right? He shows him this form. Duryodhana, he is so scared. He is convinced, I cannot fight this man. There's no way. And he would finish. But it was Shakuni who again convinced Duryodhana, come on, he's just doing some illusion. You are better than him. He cannot do anything to you. Shakuni had an agenda. His agenda was to destroy the Kauravas dynasty. So he pretends to be a friend, but actually he's his worst enemy. So if it wouldn't be for Shakuni, then the war of Kurukshetra wouldn't happen even. So association is so important.
Yes.
So due to the influence, one makes wrong decisions.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Maharaj.
So that we should take the example from that and choose our own association based on actually what we want to achieve. So don't associate with Shakuni, no. Rather associate with Krishna.
Yes. Yes, sir. Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Pranam, pranam.
Hare
Maharaj,
Krishna.
I also have a silly question. So this Mahabharat Leela, this is happening in other universes as well, Maharaj, and it keeps on happening.
Yes, it's happening constantly. Yes.
Constantly. So these main characters, like who they are, like Duryodhan or Shakuni, and or like when we hear about Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, so those people are devotees, right? So these characters are also devotees, or like they are truly bad at heart.
See, sometimes they are directly devotees.
Oh.
Like we see like a Jai Vijay, they act. And sometimes they are the suras, they post. So like Vidura.
No, but these characters, Maharaj, like Duryodhan or Shakuni or those who are bad in Mahabharata. So are these like devotees in the Leela, or like they're
Sometimes there are actually the bad kings. Okay, so and Krishna, Paritrana Sarunam Vinashaya Dushkritam. So he comes to eliminate them. So they become part of the Leela, but the Leela is not done for them. The Leela is done for the devotees. But sometimes they may be the devotees just to enact or to do. Same like Brahma. Lord Brahma, he is the best jiva in the universe. But if in the universe there is no qualified jiva to be Brahma, then Krishna will take position of Brahma. So he is, it's a post. So like, no, it's a post in the universe. Now, there's a pastime. So no, it's a drama actually.
Right.
Right? The whole material creation is a drama. So now there's a drama of the Mahabharata. Now, if you get the proper criminals to pay the role of the criminals, and then you take the devotees, and then you show the superiority of the devotees, then you do that.
Okay.
But now, if there are not enough criminals, but you still want to get rid of them, so those who don't have, then you will put new actors.
Right. So it is both ways. From what I understand.
It's both ways. It's flexible.
Okay.
No.
Right. Thank you. So,
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, Danvat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Sorry, Maharaj, I was driving. I couldn't, but I attended the class. Thank you, Maharaj, that both this all diplomacy and all the initial part of Bhagavad Gita, you could connect us with the current scene also, Maharaj, that it is not the Kshatriyas are gone, but this whole diplomacy thing and everything still persists. And within Kshatriya also we see, Maharaj, like you pointed out, Duryodhan's character and Pandava's character, both Kshatriyas, both willing to fight and their life, but their consciousness is completely different, Maharaj. So,
Right. Yeah.
Yes, Maharaj. So thank you so very much, Maharaj. So all of us, we heartily thank Maharaj by loudly chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. His Holiness Bhakti Arjava Priti Vardhan Maharaj ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Haribol.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Thank you so much.